is the Lamb, and worthy is the Lamb. You are holy, holy. Are you Lord God Almighty? Worthy is the Lamb, worthy is the Lamb. Amen. Oh, and worthy is the Lamb, worthy is the Lamb, and worthy is the Lamb, and worthy is the Lamb, worthy is the Lamb. Amen. Hey City Church, I hope you enjoyed those Christmas songs tonight. So many times when I think about the story of Jesus around Christmas time, in particular the story of Jesus being born in a barn in a manger, we kind of skim right over the person named Jacob, the innkeeper, that essentially allowed Mary and Joseph to have their baby in the barn. And tonight I'm going to read you a story called The Innkeeper by Dr. John Piper. And it goes like this. Jake's wife would have been 58 the day that Jesus passed the gate of Bethlehem and slowly walked towards Jacob's inn. The people talked with friends and children played along the paths, and Jesus hummed a song and smiled at every child he saw. He paused with one small lass to draw a camel in the dirt, then said, "What's this?" The girl bent down her head to study what the Lord had made, then smiled. "A camel, sir," and laid her finger on the bulging back. "It's got a hump." Indeed it does. And who do you believe it was who made the camel with his hump? Without a thought that this would stump the rabbi killed and be reviled, she said, "God did." And Jesus smiled. "Good eyes, my child." And with that all Jerusalem within that wall, a yonder stone could see the signs of peace. He left the lass with lines of simple wonder in her face and slowly went to find the place where he was born. Folks said the inn had never been a place for sin, for Jacob was a holy man, and he and Rachel had a plan to marry, have a child or two, and serve the folks who traveled through, especially poor who brought their meal in turtle doves and sought a place to stare near Zion's gate. They'd rise up early, stay up late, to help the pilgrims grow and come. And when the place was full, to some especially the poorest, they would say, "We're sorry, there's no room. But stay now if you like out back. There's lots of hay and we have extra cots that you can use. There'll all be no charge. The stable isn't very large, but Noah's kept it safe." He was a wedding gift to Jacob because the shepherds knew he loved the dog. "There's nothing in the Decalogue," he used to joke. "They say a man can't love a dog." The children ran ahead of Jesus as he strode towards Jacob's inn. The stony road that laid up in the inn was deep, with centuries of wear and steep. At one point, just before the door, the Lord knocked. Once then, twice before. He heard an old man's voice. "Round back," it's called. So Jesus took the track that led around the inn. The old man leaned back in his chair and told the dog to never mind. "I ain't had no one tend the door, my lad, for 30 years. I'm sorry for the inconvenience to your sore feet. The road to Jerusalem is hard, ain't it? Don't mind old Shem. He's harmless like his dad. Won't bite a Roman soldier in the night. Sit down." And Jacob laid the stump of his right arm. "We're in a slump right now. Got lots of time to think and talk. Come sit and have a drink from Jacob's well," he laughed. "You own the inn?" the Lord inquired. "On loan. You better say, God owns the inn." And that the Lord knew they were kin, and ventured on. "Do you recall the tax when Caesar said to all the world that each must be enrolled?" Old Jacob winced. "Are north winds cold? Are deserts dry? Do fishes swim? And ravens fly? I do. A grim and awful year it was for me, when God ordained that strange decree. How could I such a time forget? Why do you ask? I have a debt to pay, and I must see how much. Why do you say that that was such a grim and awful year? He raised the stump of his right arm. So dazed, young man, I didn't know I'd lost my arm. Do you know what it cost for me to house the Son of God? The old man took his cedar rod and swept around the place. Empty for 30 years alone, you see. Old Jacob, poor old Jacob runs it with one arm, a dog and no sons. But I had sons once. Joseph was my firstborn. He was small because his mother was so sick. When he turned 3, the Lord was good to me. And Rachel, our baby Ben, was born. The very fortnight when the blessed family arrived and Rachel's gracious heart contrived a way for them to stay, there in that very stall, the man was thin and tired. You look a lot like him. But Jesus